Hey, hey! Welcome to the Scholar of Life. My name is Happy Patrishko. I've been waiting so long for this day. I have here with me Olivia.
Hello.
We go way, way back, so stay tuned. On a serious note, I know we look all hyped and da-da-da, but it's going to be quite an exciting time. We're going to be healing, and we hope that people out there can also heal. This is the real Happy that you get to see. This is the real Olivia that you get to see. And we are just together in this space simply because of one thing only, and that is G-O-D.
Oh, yes.
Stay tuned.
Oh, yes.
Okay. Hey, Olivia.
Hi, Happy.
What's up, girl?
Hey, it's so lucky to see you.
Oh, it's so good
lucky.
to see you too.
Thank
It's
you.
so good to see you, my friend.
Thank you. In your studio.
Explain to the viewers. We go way back, right?
Yes.
How did we meet?
It was basically through your brother Knowledge. We were hanging out at P level at Schubert Park, and him and Christian were friends. And then you came to actually look for him, and then he introduced us to his beautiful older sister, and it was love at first sight.
That was many years ago.
Many years ago, yeah. You were 17 and I was 19. Yeah.
Explain, we talk about P level, right? That's where we grew up. Explain to people what P level was like growing up in our time.
I thought it was amazing. Only now that I think back, it was actually very scary. Because it was the level where the swimming pool was, and where families were supposed to come down to have their picnics and to hang out at the swimming pool, and us druggies just took over, and we were family amongst ourselves. In a way, it was we were comrades in a way, and we knew that we were safe in that crazy environment. We were safe because nobody would try to touch somebody that was so well protected, coming from such a close environment, such a close community. So now looking back, the lifestyle that I live now, I would not like to take my kids there to go swim.
It was a bunch of broken people, but with the most beautiful hearts.
Yes. They all just needed just that love and just that acceptance that we know now that we cannot find from the world, that we can only get from God. But when we're so lost, we try to find our worth in the world and what the world thinks of us, and what we can put out or get out of it. And now we know it's just so much more. Only God can fill that void. It was fun times, but I would not like to go back because it was very dark, very broken times. And now that I look back, the brokenness is bigger than the fun that was had.
True.
Yeah.
True. Okay, let's get right into it. Olivia, people look at your life now, and you, especially myself that have known you for such a long time, right? There was a gap where we parted ways, okay? And then we were brought back again through the friendship community camp.
Yes.
And we had such a beautiful stories to tell because we were clean.
Yeah.
We were clean. You achieved so much in your life. You have a beautiful child. You have a beautiful home. I've been to your home. The job that you do. I mean, looking back when we were growing up, there was no hope for Olivia. There was no hope for Happy. And now here we are in the same space, not bragging about our achievements, but just bragging about that one God that came through for us. When not even human beings could tolerate our madness.
No.
That's how insane we were, right? And look at us now, girl.
Yes.
But can you just go back I know it's going to be such a hectic time now because we haven't really tapped into this space. And thank you so much for doing this, Olivia.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So much. I know it's not easy. Who is Olivia? Just go back to your childhood and your testimony and what it took for you to be this amazing woman that you are today, like right now.
Only God's grace. Only God's grace. From the moment of conception, the enemy wanted to come and steal and rob and destroy. And I think he's got a the enemy does not like life. So where there's life and where there's a calling, he wants to destroy it. So from the moment of conception, my biological mother was a crack cocaine prostitute. Never knew my father. So from the moment of conception, I was not wanted, or that was what I was made to feel. Born under police custody, stayed with my mom for the first year in jail. Then my gran came to fetch me. I was put from foster home to foster home. Tried to keep it in the family. Then my eldest auntie died. She got an epileptic attack and she drowned in the bathtub. Then they couldn't adopt me. My uncle and his wife, he died in a motorbike accident on his way to sign the papers, so that adoption fell through. I couldn't stay with my gran after my grandfather died. I couldn't stay with my uncle that my gran stayed with because the government said affordability, he cannot afford another child. So I was put up for foster care through the NG Church, placed with a foster family. Every 2 years they went to renew the foster law because you can only keep a foster child for 2 years. With them from age 4, and then legally adopted at the age of 14. And then that's where the nonsense started with my adopted dad. He got touchy and I got very rebellious, and in a small town everybody thinks it's a rebellious, naughty child. Nobody asked the circumstances at home. And that time I was mad at God. I wanted nothing to do with him. I remember my high school years being the most horrific years ever. And I couldn't understand how anybody could say he's a God of love, and all I know is heartache and trauma and pain and suffering. So where's this God of love? I went to look for love in all the wrong places, which we know now. Love you cannot find in wrong places, but love will find you in wherever you are. Doesn't matter where you are. Fell pregnant at age 21 and a half in the middle of the biggest drug days of my life. And when I found out I was pregnant, I was kind of devastated knowing that all the poison that I put in my body, and now I'm like almost already 6 months pregnant, and what have I done to this little life? And from the moment that I found out I was pregnant, I just told the Lord that if you really do exist, then show me. If everything is true what the people say about you, that you are a God of love, then show me. And if this life that I was carrying inside of me would be born without any negative impact from the lifestyle that I enforced on this life, and this life is okay, I will never stop shouting the Lord's grace and glory from the highest mountains. And my baby girl was born perfect, beautiful, no known and seen defects. And I will just keep my word, the Lord's grace and what He's bestowed upon a new chance, life in abundance, not just surviving, not just living, but not just hanging on, but living, you know. And his goodness from that day, the way He has carried me, and I've never looked back. Just grown from strength to strength. Out of that darkness, He just took us and He just picked us up out of the gutter, and He has proven that He is our Father. He is Yahweh. He is the God of love. He is our provider. And I will never, never, ever, ever, ever turn back, because what He has given and shown me, and especially the more mature we grow in Him, the more content we get, and then the more happiness, because we know we don't need to seek outside validation. But just God's love and His grace, and every day is a miracle. Every day is a miracle to be alive, and to celebrate that. You know, and He has His good, better, best. There's absolutely no other love that I seek anymore. There's fulfillment, there's forgiveness, there's growth. It's not easy. It's not easy. When people say, okay, now when you give your life to the Lord and then everything's going to be smooth sailing. No. But He does come through for us. Always. So He has taken that little girl that absolutely had nowhere to go, and He's my Father. And once a child's not fatherless anymore, there is opportunity for security and growth. It's just to understand the love of a father's heart it brings fulfillment. It absolutely does. And then absolutely meeting friends like you along the way, just cheering on through life's ups and downs, just always a cheerleader by the side, and then we know we're not alone. Yeah.
Oh my God. Thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing. I'm even more and more in love with you, because the proof is in the pudding.
Yes.
And I know you back then, and when I look at your life now, your beautiful daughter, and you know, just the fact that you keep on trying. I mean, when you invited me to your home, I was so impressed. I was like, you could have chosen another path.
Mm-hmm.
You could have been the victim, but you chose to get out of that.
Amen,
and
sister.
Saying getting out of that is another story that we're going to dig deep, but not right now. For the viewers, what message do you have for that? Especially where we grew up. I'm getting a lot of people really reaching out, and a lot of people that we knew either are in prison, as you know, or they died.
Yeah.
Our own brother died from a heroin, from a drug overdose, and we loved him dearly.
We did.
The people that are still out there, and they look at me and your life, Olivia, without sounding too religious, like, people don't know that if God could love a person like me and yourself, like, it's not as complicated as religion makes it out to be.
No.
What would you say for the person that's looking for that hope? Any words of encouragement in closing?
I would say, first of all, God did not call us into religion. He calls us into relationship every day. And as our Father, He wants us to communicate with Him. He wants us, that prayer is not just a quick rush and just like closing your eyes, and that can also, there's a time and a place for everything. But I believe that from a Father's heart, He wants conversation, He wants relationship. So we need to make our prayer a chat with our Father. You know, it's like, it's not like it's la-di-da, high up there and holier than how. He's our Father, He's our Daddy. And He is standing with arms wide open, just waiting for us to reach out and, you know, and talk to Him, have a conversation with Him. And then choices. I think we hear this so many times, and it's kind of a cliche, but it's the truth. Every day we are given two choices. Every day, everything, it doesn't matter what we do in life. We either choose life or we choose death. So every morning when you wake up, what are you going to choose? Are you going to choose to live today, or are you going to choose to die today? And if you choose to live, God's grace is enough to pull you through. And if you choose to die, unfortunately, then you choose to remain the victim. And only you can think yourself out of that mindset. And God is always waiting with arms wide open. It's just you need to make that choice. Am I going to roll over and play dead? Well, I'm going to give this day my best, and just live to the fullest, and just remain in God's glory, and just glorify His name through everything that we do and everything that we choose to do, and that what we say. So my humble.
Sweet.
Thank you, my sister.
Sweet. I love you. Peace and light.
I love you. Peace and light, my sister.